Hey, what's up? My name is Elvin Madera, and I'm here to talk about construction scheduling throughout this video. So I'm going to start with what is a construction project schedule? And the answer is right here. It outlines each step of the project, provides dates for completion about a task or activity. It keeps projects on time and on budget, allows for adjustments to accommodate unexpected events. All right, so here this shows two different types of construction, which is the sequential construction and the phased construction. The sequential construction means a sequence. It's a sequence, right? So uh, here we see how design starts the first year. That's the first task that starts, and it finishes in October. And then the bidding process starts all the way to January. And after the bidding process is finalized, the construction process is started, of course. And that is the sequence that it will go on. The phase construction, though, it has activities or tasks that overlap each other. So I'm going to skip over and I'm gonna go all the way to October. As we can see over here, the overlapping activities that is occurring during the month of October, which is the shell and core design, the bidding in shell and core, and the foundation of construction starts in October. And this is done by architects and engineers to save time. There we go. All right, so now let's talk about the Gantt charts, which you already saw in the previous slide, but I didn't tell you about it. But now I'm gonna tell you about it. So, and the Gantt chart is basically a bar graph, which is consists of the horizontal axis is the time that it takes, as we can see here, and the vertical axis has all the tasks or activities to complete for the project itself. And here we can see the name of the project. We can see with the bars over here, we can see how long the project is, and this white bar is from January all the way to December, which means it's a year long. And here the designer of the graph also used the days to be more specific. So planning is the task, and these activities over here are what completes this task. So each activity, as we can see here, is a blue bar, and the green arrows and specifies where does it start, and the triangle specified where it finishes. But each chart can be different with that. Like every architect can use a different symbol to suggest, for example, a milestone where you completed a task, or different ways you can use it. The black bars consist of the task and the length of it. Of course, like I said earlier, it indicates the time that it will take. So here the planning starts on January and it ends in January, which is exactly 1 month. It tells you right here is 30 days. And right after the planning stage finishes, the analysis starts. And right after the analysis finishes, the design starts, which can be seen as the sequential construction like I talked about earlier. That is the Alright, so let me talk about the critical path method, which is, instead of charts, is a diagram designed by the architect. So the six steps are: specify each activity. So each activity has to be specified from the work breakdown of the structure already. So for example, here we see A, C, D, and B, but they're not specified really just because this is a simple example. But if you were the architect designing the critical method diagram, then you would have some kind of information that would help you understand what the task is or activity. Number two, the sequence the activities. So arrows, lines, or other structures may be used to sequence the activity. So for example, here they use a purple line and a yellow line. So the yellow line would combine A, B, and D, and the purple line would combine A, C, and D. And that would be the sequence of the task for the diagram. You would have to, number three, you would have to draw the network diagram, of course, which is a graphic representation using arrows, like I said. I went ahead there. Yeah, and the activities are shown in boxes, like you can see here, the whole box is shown. Number four, you would estimate how long each task will take to complete. So here we have a key that we can see in this middle box tells you how long it takes to complete. So D takes 15 days, C takes 10 days, A takes 5 days, which was an estimation by the designer of the diagram. And number five, you would have to identify the critical path. How would you do that? You would identify the critical path by sequencing the longest route in this diagram. And it is critical because every task or activity will depend on the other. As if you were delayed on one task, the entire project is already delayed, just like in the Gantt chart. And step number six, the last one, use the critical path as a monitor tool and the planning tool. Then that will help you and you would kind of have to update it every time to see the progress throughout the project. So the Gantt charts and the critical path method are basically two representations of the same information, and they are both different ways that you can use to schedule your own construction project. Thank you for listening. I hope you understood.